All right, this video will have the rest of the review on it, number 17 through 23. Number 17, every year a realtor sells 20 homes. At this rate, how many houses will the realtor sell in 3 months? So here we could be talking about homes in year or homes in months. I'm going to go with months because that's what my question's asking. So if I'm talking about homes in months, I know they can sell 20 homes in a year, and I know that a year is 12 months. Okay, and I'm trying to figure out how much they can sell in 3 months. And I can scale here. I can say that 12 divided by 4 equals 3, so I can divide by 4 over here. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Number 18. Table shows the number of apples and bananas in different servings of a fruit cocktail. How many bananas will be used if a fruit cocktail where 20 apples are used? Sorry. So I could keep going with my table if I wanted to, or I could just pick a random value from there to make a 3 box. So I'm talking about apples and bananas, and I can just use my first value or any value. I can pick any value out of the table, but I know that 2 apples and 3 bananas is a ratio that is used because that's equivalent to all of them. And then my question is, if there are 20 apples, how many bananas? So 2 times 10 equals 20, so I can do the same thing down here. 3 times 10 equals 30. My answer is C. 19. Hannah did 9 haircuts over the weekend and made $292.50. What was the price per haircut? So price per haircut, I'm dividing the price by the number of haircuts because it's price divided by haircuts. So the price, $292 and 5/10, because you don't really need that 0 at the end, divided by 9. 2 goes into 29 3 times. 9 times 3 is 27. Subtract, I get 2. Bring down my 2 to make 22. 9 goes into 22 twice. 9 times 2 is 18. Subtract that, I get 4. Bring down my 5. 9 goes into 45 5 times. And don't forget to pop up your decimal. So 32 and 5/10. And since I'm talking about money, I do need that little 0 back on at the end. So don't forget, since I didn't have to move any decimals in my dividend over here, then I just have to pop up my decimal in my divisor. My answer is 32.50. You could also use reasonableness to answer this question. Some of these are just not quite reasonable. That D would be a very expensive haircut, and B would be a little bit too cheap. Might not be the best haircut. Number 20. A school has 36 classrooms and 1,008 students. Which rate best represents the relationship between the number of students and the number of classrooms at the school? So I could be talking about classrooms per student or students per classroom. So it doesn't really make sense to say classrooms per student, but I know that that's not really right anyway. So I'm going to go with students per classroom. So I'm going to divide my number of students by my number of classrooms. 1,008 divided by 36. So 36 can't go into 10. I'm going to move on to 100. So 36 goes into 100 twice, and I know that because 36 times 2, 6 times 2 is 12. Bring that up. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So 72. If I went any farther, I go above 100. So subtract that, I get 28. Bring down my 8. So 36, I'm going to use my context clues over here with my options, and I'm going to multiply it by 8 just to see what happens. 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 4 is 28. Look at that. Look at that. So my answer is 28 because I have nothing else to bring down. So that means 28 students per classroom because I divided the number of students per classroom. Number of students divided by the number of classrooms. That's students per classroom. So my answer is B. Number 21. Which picture shows a ratio of 2 to 3 shaded to unshaded? So what I could do here, there's a bunch of different ways I could do this, just like usual. I'm going to go with a table. So I'm going to say shaded to unshaded. So I know that if I have 2 shaded, I will have 3 unshaded based on my ratio. So remember the order, shaded to unshaded. So I could count by 2s right here and count by 3s right here. And then I could see if this is one of my options. So A, I have 4 shaded and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unshaded. Look at that first one I tried. And double check just to make sure the other ones aren't correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's not a 9, so that's not going to work. And so on and so forth. You can double check to make sure the other ones aren't correct. Number 22, the table below shows the number of students and how many books they need for their college classes. I want to know the relationship between the number of books. So to get my number of books, I'm going to look at what's happening to the number of students. So here are all my options. I can multiply by 5, multiply by 6, add by 5, add by 15. I want to look at what happened from student to book. Now, 1 plus 5 equals 6, but that has to work for all of them. 3 plus 5 is 8, not 18. And 6 plus 5 is not 36, so I know that it actually can't be that I'm adding 5. Even though that worked for the first one, it didn't work for all the ones after. So let's see what else could work. So 1 times 6 works. 3 times 6 works here. 6 times 6 works here. 9 times 6 works here. So see how that works for every single one? That's how I know that students, whatever my number of students is, times 6 is going to get me the number of books. Okay, I can plug in any number for my number of students. That's going to give me my answer. So B is my answer. Number 23, erasers cost 5 cents at the school store. The table shows this relationship. How many erasers would a customer be purchasing if they paid 80 cents? So I'm talking about number of erasers and the number of cents they cost. So over here I can see that one eraser costs 5 cents, and if I paid 80, I can cross multiply, divide by the lonely guy, or scale. So I'm going to say 1 times 80 is 80. Divide by my lonely guy. Okay, 5 goes into 8 one time. 5 times 1 is 5. Subtract to get 3. Bring down my 0. 5 goes into 30 6 times.